Hey, very quickly, let me just say, I just want to thank our our members of the Democratic Caucus, who I thought did an outstanding job today with their floor speeches. Did very great, just awesome job, as they have all week, as they have, frankly, for the last 4 months, talking with constituents, holding rallies, press conferences, all those things. So I want to thank them. I also want to thank, frankly, the 12 Republicans that voted against the bill. It's almost 20% of their caucus, including some folks in leadership, so I appreciate that. But most importantly, I want to thank Hoosiers, all the folks in Indiana that have made their voices known, have made their opinions known. They're going to be, I'm sure, working the Senate next week, but they've been just extremely engaged, more so engaged, I think, in a long time for me that I can remember on any issue, probably because frankly, the length of time that we've been discussing it, which has been now almost 4 months. So we'll see what happens in the Senate, but with that, I'll open up any questions you might have.
Leader GiaQuinta, how confident are you that this bill will ultimately pass in the Senate?
I'm not that confident it's going to pass in the Senate. We'll see. I thought we made some really great arguments today on why it shouldn't move forward, and I think, frankly, there's 41. Representative Pryor wasn't here, so that would have been 42. That's quite a few no votes to send. It's going to send, I think, a good a signal, if you will, to the Senate that what we heard and what we, from in committee and on the floor, that the bill's not a good idea. And so, no, I'm not confident it's going to pass. I think they'll have a robust discussion over there. We keep hearing, all kinds of things, but you never know. So we'll see.
Do you think any of the arguments that Democrats made today swayed any of the Republicans, or the people that voted no for it on the Republican side? Did you already know? Okay.
Yes, I don't know for sure. I really don't. I don't know. I thought we just put up really good arguments. I think, frankly, having the maps up here, which is probably the first time that a lot of people, maybe even their own members, I don't know, have seen the maps. In the prior years, you'd have 2 or 3 weeks of going around the state and holding hearings, and so where the public would have a chance to see the map. So I think that looking at that and the other arguments put forward, I think really probably had some impact, yes.
Phil, one of the things that has brought up is that some of the Republicans actually voted for this map, basically knew it's not going to pass the Senate, so they kind of had it both ways. They say, hey, I voted for it, I did my thing for Donald Trump, now the damn thing won't pass, and we can go home and call it a day and have a Merry Christmas.
I feel like a pretzel right now. What was that? We're all going all kinds of ways here, thinking on all that. Again, I can't read the minds of legislators, so I don't know exactly what all they may be thinking on that front. But those that did it, that voted for it, now and if it would happen to pass, this is just going to be unfortunately the norm now. What happens if the elections don't go the way people want them to go in 26? Are we going to come back in 27 and start moving some precincts around, move a county here and there, or what's going to happen? So unfortunately now we've set the stage to start to do this. Unfortunately now more often than when it should be done, which is once every 10 years.
Leader GiaQuinta, there's been a lot of conversations about how counties are going to fund this. How are we going to make sure they have the money to do it? Speaker Houston said that the election division is going to help. Do you think that there's the money there to get this done in less than a month?
It probably varies by county. I'm sure some of the smaller counties probably don't. And even, frankly, even the larger ones, because I think the Marion County clerk, she came to testify, said it's going to be difficult. It's going to be not only financially, but just a time crunch trying to get all this stuff done. Particularly with Marion County, the way that it's been divvied up, and there are obviously a bunch of other concerns there too. So I don't know other budgets and things like that, but they don't have a lot. Frankly, don't have enough money to operate what's happening currently, let alone having to redraw the maps and all those things. So it'll be definitely a money crunch for a lot of these folks.
Do you think there'll need to be some sort of an appropriation for this specifically?
That's going to be a little harder. We're not going to come back till January 5th. I got obviously the election itself isn't until May, but there'll be some, the drawing of the maps and reconfiguring those and all those things are going to cost some money. So we'll just see.
And Meredith, we offered 2 amendments to help with that yesterday, and they were ruled out of order.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, to help there. So.
You mentioned this being an important vote in your minds. How do you anticipate it, or do you anticipate it changing relationships between your party and the other party going forward?
Yeah, I think that's going to be difficult. I really do. We've had some tough battles before, and I mentioned some of those over the years. I've been here now 19, going on my 20th year next year. But I think it's going to be difficult. Gerrymandering is a little different, and sometimes it feels a little personal. And then when we're doing it mid-decade and start to, basically you're eliminating one party's representatives. I mean, that kind of personal. You know, anytime you run against someone, particularly against an incumbent, you're making the case as to why that person should be removed. And so, you know, elections, I know, get kind of tough. But to come in here and then just to redraw maps, it's a personal thing, and I think it's going to be difficult to mend those relationships going forward.
Do you think that'll make it harder to work together to get some bipartisan stuff passed?
I do. I think it's going to be difficult. I think it's one of those things, because there's always this trust factor that you have when you work with folks, particularly on the other side of the aisle, that we're not with all the time anyway. And then this just feels like an end around, if you will, doing something again mid-decade, which isn't necessary. We don't have to do it, and it's just again kind of saying we can do it. We've got 70 members, and the heck with you all.
In a weird way, Senator Phil, this has helped Democrats in the statewide elections next year, because you got Diego Morales at the top of the ticket, vote by for the Democrats, and then this sort of igniting, sort of lighting fire under Marion County voters and heavy Democratic areas.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's going to, frankly, wake a lot of folks up that you never know really what motivates people to go to the polls. I always think still economics is the number one thing, but this is going to for sure motivate, I think, folks to go to the polls and to say, because honestly, I mean, I've thought about this. If we had 44, 45 Democrats, somewhere in that range, we would have defeated it today. And so that's why we always like to tell folks that it's good to have real balance in the State House. We want enough members that we can break quorum if we have to and stop these things that the supermajority is trying to do. And this is clear. This is a blatant act with regards to what the supermajority can do with the number of vote that they have and the number of bodies they have in their chamber that normally wouldn't be able to do. Because remember, when I was in the majority, we had 51 and 52. You would have never been able to get away with this.
Do you see any state house seats as maybe a target for Democrats that they feel like they can flip in the upcoming election?
We're going to try and flip them all. Not ours, theirs.
We noticed that during roll call the past couple of days, and the prayer and the pledge, Democrats were not in the chamber. You all came in afterwards. Were you trying to send a message?
Yeah, we were not going to grant quorum. Frankly, we weren't. I'll go kind of talk a little bit about this again. We adjourned to come back on January 5th. I didn't agree to come back early, but if they want to come back, they can provide the quorum. We weren't going to. But once they did, once they got the necessary number of folks, we were ready to hear. We're here and we're going to do business.
Houston said that, paraphrasing a bit, he didn't believe anything that was done to kill this bill would change the overall national conversation or change the momentum in any way. Do you have a response to what he said on the floor?
About operating in a vacuum or something like that, or even what the states are going to do going forward. Yeah, I haven't really kept up on that. I mean, this all started with a phone call from the, D.C. out to Texas, and that's when it all, started. And I'm not really sure where we are, frankly, with the other states or what's going to happen. I have seen comments from, the Illinois governor saying, well, we're going to now counteract what Indiana may do and things like that. So it's really, it's been, I think, kind of a sad state of affairs, to be honest with you, with regards to this, again, mid-decade redistricting, starting in Texas and then kind of going back and forth all over the country. It's really
what
pretty
kind
silly.
of message do you think this sends to Hoosiers as far as when it comes to if the White House comes knocking? Is this going to be kind of standard reaction, or? Well,
I think what it's the message, in my opinion, that it sends is what are the priorities of the legislature? What we hear is it's the affordability issues. Then we come down here to Indianapolis and they want to talk about maps. So, in my opinion, it's sending the wrong message. It's sending the message that we're more, at least from the Republican side, is that we're here to play games and gerrymander maps, when in fact, what we're hearing from Hoosiers is they want they want us to be able to solve the everyday issues, child care costs, utility costs. You've heard them all, and that's what I think is most important to Hoosiers, and that's what they're telling us.
Yesterday, when the House Democrats proposed the 16 amendments, the author of the bill frequently stated that he was uncomfortable revising specific language in the bill. Do you think this was intentional to get it passed as quickly as possible?
Yes, I do. I mean, they clearly know what he wanted to deal with the amendments that we had, some of which really, that frankly, it was adding more transparency. Nothing, a couple of them weren't going to slow down the process at all. It was going back and looking to check on with regards to minority disparities and things like that. So they were things that could have easily been incorporated into the bill, and they weren't, so unfortunately.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Okay.